Well, it's finally here. After the April 30th announcement, Rockstar Games has released the third official trailer of Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm Gary7MT for the GTASeriesVideos crew, and together we're going to analyze every bit of the new trailer, from the little details to the unveiling of new and old characters known by the fans of the series. It's Arthur Morgan that gets this party started, making his first debut in the form of artwork. Sporting a beard for the first time in what many people believe will be the cover art of the game, or at least a picture we can vibe on while waiting for the unveiling of the final box art. If the first trailer of the game was focused around the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 and the second centered on the figure of our protagonist, the third trailer focuses on the entire gang of Dutch van der Linde. Together with the trailer, Rockstar has released an official synopsis of Red Dead Redemption 2. Thanks to this, we can now set a precise timeline for the events that take place in Red Dead Redemption 2. It's 1899, 12 years before the events of the original Red Dead Redemption, and 7 years before Marston was shot and left for dead by his fellow gang members in a failed robbery in 1906. Considering the timeline and that the failed robbery in Blackwater is gonna probably be the prologue of the game, an event that starts and moves the story forward by creating tension between gang members, it's unlikely that this will be the robbery in which Marston will be left for dead.
That's the life I left, or tried to lead.
With that said, let's move on with the analysis. And as we've done in the past, instead of doing a classic frame-by-frame analysis, we're going to group all the shots of common places, characters, possible missions, or similar content in order to grasp things better. As always, big thanks goes to the guys over at the GTA forums, Red Dead Network, and of our Discord server for some details we initially missed. Let's start this analysis with the bank robbery in what appears to be the city of Valentine, a location that also appears in the map of the game leaked years ago. The name can be partly spotted on a window of the interior of the bank in the second scene. It could also be possible that the two scenes are taken from two different robberies, considering that the interiors of the two banks are slightly different. Every member of the gang wears a bandana, so we can only recognize the third one by his skin. In the second scene of the robbery, this guy is aiming at a hostage who clearly doesn't want to get shot. Let's talk about the members of Dutchess Gang. The trailer itself starts with the entire gang, composed of 7 members, beside an armored train car. The wagon has the name Cornwall on its side, another familiar name from the leaked map. Dutch is in the middle of the group, where we can also recognize Bill Williamson, Arthur Morgan, and Javier Escuela. The other 3 consist of an unnamed blonde guy, the Native American, and an unknown member of the gang that doesn't look to be John Marston at all. So we can safely speculate that Marston is indeed part of the story, but maybe at this point he's probably not yet a member of the 7. In another scene with the gang, we can see a wonderful view of the game's world while the group is galloping through fields and roads, raising dust and little pieces of vegetation and terrain. The group is led by Morgan, followed immediately by Dutch and what appears to be the blonde woman seen in the previous trailer at his side. Following them is another pair. The one in the background is Williamson, while the one in foreground is the first shot of the younger John Marston. The last 2 members of the team are the Native American and Escuela. This scene also shows that the level of details on the horses this time is clearly higher from every point of view. Before moving forward, let's take a moment to better analyze what we saw this time about the gang. In the introduction of the video, in the group there are 7 members, but none of them is a girl and none of them looks like Marston. Considering this, while Red Dead Redemption is the tale of events unfolded in a relatively short amount of time, Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably going to narrate a long story through different years and people. Now let's move on to another scene in which we can see some unknown dude talking about Dutch and the fact that they were friends to members of the gang and some other characters, maybe helpers and believers of Dutch's philosophy. Again, Various members of the gang can be recognized around the fire with the addition of what could be the character known as Uncle in Red Dead Redemption. This is another scene and another beautiful look at the world of the game, with the gang and some helpers on a hill looking at a refinery downhill. In this other shot, the location is the town that we called Smithfields in the previous analysis videos, which is a name we gave to just temporarily identify the location. Here's another brief scene in which we can see Escuela and the blonde guy behind him, while in a different frame, we can see the gang moving together to attack a moving train. With the scene moving forward, we can see Morgan drawing his rifle whilst his horse clearly has nightmares from a past life. And with that, we'll close the long section dedicated to Dutchess Gang with the group scene. In the middle we have Dutch. Behind him there's Morgan with Marston on his side. In the foreground there's the blonde woman with Bill Williamson on the right and the blonde man behind him. On the other side of the shot we have Escuela, the Native American, and behind everyone, the old guy, Dutch's friend. The rest of the men and women in the shot are maybe other followers of Dutch, with one of the girls that could be a young Abigail. And before the scene we just talked about, we can see that the group appears to be talking to a younger Edgar Ross and what could be his mentor and founder of the Bureau of Investigation that would later become the FBI, the organization with a key role in the first Red Dead Redemption. Another important thing to note is the black guy with the rifle keeping an eye on the FBI agents was already shown as part of the 7 outlaws in this scene of the second trailer. This clearly reinforces the idea that the gang is going to be a group that continuously evolves throughout the game, with people leaving and joining Dutch here and there. The same FBI guy, the one with the red vest, is shown also in Blackwater in the middle of the road threatening someone. Let's talk about the anti-hero we all know and love, John Marston. Our guy has been subdued and used to maybe lure Dutch from his hideout. Marston is clearly younger and leaner. He looks scared, powerless, and surely he's not the bold, self-confident outlaw we're all familiar with. The close-up also shows that the scars on his face are recent, with stitches still left in his skin, and hopefully we will finally see how he got those scars. And while still on the subject of Marston, there's an interesting theory around him in the scene we've just watched. The official synopsis, and a little bit of fantasy, gives this theory some solid ground to grow. But be aware that this is all speculation that could also turn out to be a major spoiler. This theory is mainly based on the fact that Arthur Morgan is not part of the gang members that John has to track, capture, or kill in Red Dead Redemption. Morgan's name is not even mentioned once when Marston talks about his past throughout the story. That means that Morgan clearly is already dead in 1911, before the events of Red Dead Redemption, and maybe he'll be dead at the hands of John Marston himself, the character that players are going to control at the end of Red Dead Redemption 2, still only according to theory. Character-wise, this trailer, as compared to the previous one, shows a clear evolution of the characters in the game. For example, we can see here from the second and third trailers 3 moments with the same character, Javier Escuela. The location appears to be the same in all 3 scenes, but Javier seems to go through some changes from the first shot to the last one, with only his clothes looking the same. This could be a normal evolution of the design of the character from one build of the game to another, something we talked about in our GTA 4 beta hot topic with the evolution of Niko Bellic. But, more interestingly, these 3 moments could also be events that took place in different years, and that the time passes in the game is something irrefutable by looking at the Native American. Other characters shown in the trailer are the unnamed blonde girl, who clearly has a strong bond with Arthur. Then there's Dutch's old friend, who also appeared in this scene from the second trailer. The blonde guy, who seems to be one of the original members of the 7, considering he's shown in almost every scene with the gang. Lastly, this lady who many believe could be the future Abigail Marston, despite her eye color does not match Abigail's light color eyes from the first game. And these are normally the kind of details that Rockstar normally respects. Another scene in the trailer is focused on a duel between Arthur and an unknown character in the city of Van Horn. If it's a random duel like in Red Dead Redemption or part of a mission is unknown. We can see the animation of the gun is extremely detailed, with the cylinder rotating after each shot fired. The hammer moves up and down and muzzle flare exiting the gun. While talking about weapons, we can see various revolvers and rifles, a short-barreled shotgun, and an extremely detailed and decorated revolver with golden floral carving in the hands of Dutch. As far as we know, a similar revolver can be wielded by Arthur Morgan as pre-release bonus content, unlockable by all the players who complete the related challenge in GTA Online. Something that wasn't quite a big feature in Red Dead Redemption is the melee combat. Surely you can fist fight, but it's not a full complex system. Red Dead Redemption 2 is definitely going to be different in this respect. We already saw some fistfights in the previous trailers, but here we see Morgan disarming an enemy in the Ansburg mine. Clearly a gang outpost, considering that both the disarmed fellow and the dude with the rifle in the background sport the same colors. In another scene, which takes place at Blackwater Pier, Morgan tackles someone and the scene then stops, but clearly that's not a welcoming hug. Fistfighting is definitely improved in this game, as shown by the next scene, in which we can see the Native American fighting an opponent in what looks probably like a fight club. Could be a new side job or an activity. And before we leave side activities, we can see Morgan lassoing horses and attacking an armored stagecoach. The latter could be also a new random event or part of a mission. Then, in some other scenes, the gang is probably being ambushed and trapped inside an abandoned house. Other moments of this same mission were shown in a screenshot. Still, probably taken from a mission, is this scene in which Morgan is on his horse shooting and fleeing a pursuer or pursuers. He uses an oncoming train as an obstacle to separate him from the unseen danger. Last, but not least, is another cutscene taken from a mission in which Dutch talks with his followers, or soon-to-be followers, and with Dutch we can see his old friend and Morgan. Together with the cities of Blackwater, Valentine, Van Horn, and the mine of Ansburg that we already talked about, there are more scenes in the trailer focused not on characters, but on locations. The first is this shot, taken in what we once called the city of Smithfields. A little detail we can see in this scene is the young guy on the left waving a newspaper, something that was also available in Red Dead Redemption, and that would help the player uncover cheats and events related to his adventure but not directly tied to his journey. Another location is shown at the end of the trailer, and it's Burned City, with Morgan in the center of the shot looking at the area's desolation. The last two scenes are two interiors, a medical office with a doctor injecting something in a patient's arm, and the interior of a theater showing a fire-breathing woman's performance. This'll probably be a performance we're able to watch, like the silent films in Red Dead Redemption. The last aspect of the trailer we'll focus on is the music. We can finally listen to what will be the soundtrack of Red Dead Redemption 2, an evolution from the music of the first game, now with an epic string ensemble, which adds a more tense feeling to this trailer.
All of you venerate savagery.
Before closing, we'd like to take a moment to let you all know that in the past days, an art book called The Art of Red Dead Redemption 2 has been listed on Amazon and many other online bookstores. The book is scheduled for release on October 30th, and strangely enough, doesn't seem to be directly produced or published by Rockstar Games. To be completely fair, its legitimacy is neither confirmed nor denied by Rockstar Games at the time being. And that brings us to the end of this video. It's possible we missed some details, so if you find one, feel free to leave a comment with your findings, ideas, and opinions about the third trailer of Red Dead Redemption 2. Soon, various gaming websites will post the first previews of the game after being invited by Rockstar to a 40-minute long gameplay session. something Rockstar has done in the past for other games. Obviously, we'll cover all the juicy details from these previews in our next video. For all the next updates, keep following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you want to chat with us, other players and fans of Red Dead, GTA, Bully, and more, join us on our official Discord server. From GTA Series Videos, this is Gary7MT saying, till next time, gunslingers.